Hi, I'm Debra, business owner and mom to Gen Z kids on a mission to make sure they get hired and become financially independent as soon as possible. If you're a parent wanting to get your kids hired or a new job seeker desperately trying to get hired, this show is for you, and I am so glad you're here. Okay, welcome back to the show. So this week I had a listener reach out and request to discuss this topic, and that makes me so happy. So let me just say right out of the gate, if you have any subjects you would like to hear about as well, please email me. I'll leave my email in the show notes for reference, and I would love to hear about anything that you are questioning or want to know more about, or maybe you just want to share a story that you want me to share on here. It just would be so great to have some feedback. So I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so this week's topic is social media. Now, I think it's obvious that this generation is obsessed with it. They've grown up with it, and it's woven into the fabric of their daily existence. Literally, they live with their phones in their hands. Now, let me just take a moment to declare how thrilled I am that social media didn't exist when I was in high school and college. My God, can you even imagine? Parents, I'm sure you're all silently nodding your heads with me in solidarity. I can feel it. It really is such a sense of comfort knowing that none of my stupid decisions are circulating through the World Wide Web from 30 years ago, and I'm overjoyed about it, gotta be honest. So here it is in a nutshell. You can have the most impressive resume and cover letter, along with a fantastic LinkedIn profile. Yet if your social media presence runs counterintuitive to this, you will never get an interview. Let me explain. So the first thing an employer is likely to do after reviewing your resume is look at your LinkedIn profile. Here they're looking at your photo, who you might be connected with in their company or network. When I interviewed Amber a few shows ago, she confirmed this for us as well. So in doing so, like I said, they get to see what you look like. So we want to make sure that photo is a professional picture. How you present yourself and who you might share connections with are all relevant things. If they see a mutual connection, they might reach out to that person to discover more about you. This is all happening regularly and is very commonplace. Many employers stop here. However, others seek out other social profiles, and this has become more and more common. So in a survey conducted by the Harris Poll, 70% of the employers who responded said they believed every company should screen candidates' social media profiles during the hiring process. 70% believe that. Now, I personally have used social media as a tool in pursuit of finding the right employee many times. So sometimes I'll use it before an interview to see if I want to bring you in, or sometimes I'll use it as a last little checkbox to see if you'll be a good final fit. And if you don't have a completed LinkedIn profile, it's the first place I'm going. So now keep in mind, if I search for social media profiles, because of course they're never on your resume, nor should they be, and it's not hard to find, even if you have a common name. Most employers know how to super sleuth. It's not difficult. So if I find your profiles anywhere and any of them are private, there's a workaround that. So I just want you to tuck that little note away for now. But what employers are looking for when they do this essentially is they're looking for red flags that include the sharing of illegal activities, maybe offensive comments, violent or aggressive behavior. Like, let's say your friend posted a video of you getting in a fight that ended up being nothing, but there's a video of you fighting on your social media pages. Yeah, not advisable. Sexually explicit material. Things I see about this all the time. I constantly see girls dressed inappropriately, wearing super inappropriate bathing suits. I mean, they look great and good for them. And I say, wear the bathing suit. I'm not discouraging that at all. We just don't want those pictures on your social pages while you're trying to get employed. That's critical. And then they're also looking for confidential information. Are you out there talking about a company you might already work with, or saying, sharing confidential information, or, revealing bad things about a boss? Or are you doing any of those things that could be frowned upon? That's what they're looking for, red flag types of things. So they're also looking to see how well you would potentially fit into their culture. This is also commonplace. And they can legally use it to deny you a job as long as it doesn't fall under a protected category such as race, religion, gender, age, pregnancy, things like this. But if they basically go to your page and they see that you party hard and they don't want a partier in their company, that's a reason that they could eliminate you. So think about that for a minute. Fair or not fair, they're not seeking outliers. They just aren't. They're trying to find a good fit. On my first show, one of the things I talked about is a company will never hire you if they don't like you. This is one of those things. If they don't like what they see, they're never going to offer you an interview. So they're just trying to get a sense of who you are as a person. And the most important rule to remember when it comes to this entire topic is 3 important words. Perception is reality. Now, that means if your account shows a video of you pounding a bottle of Jack Daniels at a country bar, those listening, you know who you are, or violently protesting a social justice issue with photos of yourself proudly standing next to a spray-painted private property, both of these are reasons that you might face rejection and never even know it because you're never even going to be offered an interview, period. Another example I see regularly is girls creating constant TikTok lip sync dances. Now, this seemingly has become a high school and college rite of passage, and I really just wish it would go away. Using music filled with racial slurs and profanity is just not advisable. It looks so foolish. And I know so many girls that partake in these, and every time I see one, I cringe thinking, would you want a potential employer to find this? It could be what literally makes or breaks you getting contacted for an interview, so why risk it? Delete any content that could possibly be used against you before you apply to any professional jobs, period. A good rule of thumb when knowing what to delete is you can always ask your parents, or if you are questioning a post or a video at all of, should I keep it? The answer is no, you shouldn't. Delete it. So the pushback I often hear from kids, including my own, is, well, that's stupid and this shouldn't be a reason to eliminate me as a contender. But the fact is, it doesn't matter what you think. You're not in charge of hiring and life isn't fair. I also hear the excuse regularly of, well, my account is set to private, so it's fine. That's not actually true, and here's why. So a simple Google search of your name and someone you follow with a public profile might reveal comments you've made on their posts. If any of your comments are derogatory or contain profanity or racial or homophobic slurs, this would likely eliminate you immediately. And again, I know you're thinking, well, my posts or my account's private, but I'm telling you, the web has a way of somehow filtering your information if people know how to look. So I just always err on the side of be cautious. So these are instances that make your interaction on social media public for the world to see and relatively easy to find. Another example is your potential employer noticing you have a mutual connection with someone who already works for the company, and they might notice this on LinkedIn, and they might seek out that employee and ask them, hey, we're looking at John Smith. I noticed you are connected with him on LinkedIn. Are you by chance friends with him on Instagram? Hey, can we take a look at his page? We'd love to see it. And if that person doesn't protest and is like, yeah, sure, this is his page, now all of a sudden your private page is completely public. So there are so many ways around the private option. So you just can't risk relying that as your safeguard. Okay, story time. So one of my favorite family members had graduated from medical school, completed her residency, and was interviewing for a specialty fellowship when this happened. She flew across the country for multiple interviews at some of the most prestigious medical institutions. And let me just note, she is exceptional in every way and checked every single box that any program would be seeking. A 10 out of 10 applicant, period. She was staying with my family while interviewing on the West Coast, and on the morning of one of her interviews, she was contacted by the program she was supposed to be interviewing with later that day. And they called to inform her that they had removed her as an applicant after reviewing her Facebook page. They referenced a quote on her Facebook page that had the F word in it, and the program coordinator said that her use of profanity was an indication she did not belong on their team and they had rescinded her application. Can you even imagine? Can you even imagine working that hard in school and all through the program to be met with that? Now, the story has a happy ending. She's gone on to be a very successful physician and she ended up getting another fellowship. But the point is that she was eliminated from something that was so easy to avoid. And when she got the news, I remember she was like, I could kick myself. I can't believe I left that up. I wasn't even thinking because she wasn't thinking, because the reality was she was so shocked because the rest of her social media presence was completely benign and pretty vanilla other than that. But that one little 4-letter word was the deal breaker for that fellowship opportunity. And I always advocate to say, you want to be in the driver's seat of your own destiny. You want to be in control of what you are offered and what you're not offered. You don't want employers avoiding you because, again, perception is reality, and what you're showing them on social pages is what they perceive you are really like. So here's another example, and this has not happened, but it's certainly a possibility to consider. And certainly I've talked to my son about on multiple occasions. Now, does he listen to me? Not really, because he's my son. So hopefully your kids will listen. But basically, he goes to college in Utah, which knowingly has a significant Mormon population in the state. Okay, so that means he's likely applying to socially conservative companies when he's applying in Utah. Now, this is a read the room situation. He will want to be extra vigilant to ensure his social profiles are pristine when applying to these companies. You will never get hired if you blatantly show a disregard for discretion. You won't. Now, remember, I noted before, companies are looking at your social profiles for red flags, so be sure, don't give them any to find. So like, for example, my son loves to go to festivals and concerts, and he has a great time, and he's a great kid. However, videos of festivals and concerts and drinking and all of that, even though it's, in my opinion, as his parent, good college fun, and I'm not worried, I just think it's going to give the wrong impression to a potential employer. So rest assured, before he's applying, we're going to do some scrubbing. So bottom line, you will want to do this to your accounts too before you start applying professionally. This means any vulgar songs, dances, bathing suits, inappropriate PDA with your significant other, language, social justice issues, who you follow, who follows you, how you interact with these accounts. This is all important. You want to keep it clean and benign. This includes your profile picture. Be sure you do not look intoxicated or use a photo where you are flipping off the camera. Your friends might think that's funny, but I can guarantee you a future employer will not. And especially remember, if your page is private, the one thing people can see even with a private page is your profile picture. So if I'm looking at your profile picture and I'm seeing your middle finger, I'm moving on. So remember, it's common knowledge that employers are trying to avoid hiring your generation because they already assume you're unprepared and unprofessional. Perception is reality. Don't give them a reason to think it's true. Also, be sure to untag yourself in anything that might be seen as inappropriate and unfollow any inappropriate accounts that might be frowned upon, such as marijuana dispensaries, sexually explicit accounts, things of this nature. We live in a very small world, and someone always knows someone, so don't let a social media presence deter any future employers. It's hard enough landing a job, and you don't want anything standing in your way. Okay, guys, if you've enjoyed the show and you found any value in it, please do share it with your friends, and I will be back next week with a new topic. Thanks so much and have a great day.